In this, I will share something related to MIMO systems. The basics about that, why we need MIMO system. Means MIMO system means the multiple input, multiple output system. As we are aware about the wireless communication, in wireless communications, what we have a transmitter at one end, receiver at one end, and between transmitter and receiver, we have open environment. And no channel is there in fact. So that media means over which we can send our signal and the receiver receives it. The media between transmitter and receiver is termed as the wireless channel, because there is no physical connection exist between transmitter and receiver. So if we use the multiple input, means multiple antennas at transmitter, multiple antennas for receiving purpose as receiver, then we can get better quality of service and all the things. So that's why we should know the basics of the communication system, what happens, how this wireless channel affects the transmission, and then how, by improving or using more number of antennas at transmitter and receiver, we can improve the quality of transmission. We will first discuss about the requirement of a wireless communication system. Means what are the requirements of wireless communication system? So what is required from a wireless communication system? What we expect from a wireless communication system? We expect high speed, so that we could transmit enormous amount of data from transmitter, and we could receive that data at the receiver. The second requirement is large bandwidth. So why large bandwidth is required? Because we want to incorporate more and more users. We want to cater more and more users with the help of this wireless communication system. So that's why a larger bandwidth is required. Then other things that we need from a wireless communication system is its quality of service. Means what is the quality of that wireless communication system? What does it gives to the end user? What should be its quality? So we expect that the quality of that service, the wireless communication system, must be better in sense of what we are transmitting and what we are receiving. If both the things are same, then the number of bits that we are transmitting, they are same at the receiver, then definitely the error rate between these bits will be less. So the better quality of service we can explore in terms of the error rate. So if error rate is minimum, then definitely we may say the quality of service provided by a wireless communication system definitely will be better. And the last but not the least, it must be cost effective. Means the cost associated with the deployment of that system, transmitter and receiver, is it must be less, that we expect from a wireless communication system. Now related to the three terms, first three terms: high speed, large bandwidth, better quality of service. All these three things, in fact, they depends on the transmission media that exists between transmitter and receiver. So wireless system designers, they definitely face a number of problems, number of challenges associated with this design, means designing of this wireless communication system. And in fact, the designing of the wireless channel that exists between transmitter and receiver. So this wireless channel, it plays a very important role in wireless communication system. So in fact, what are the challenges faced by system designer? One is the limiting availability of radio frequency spectrum, and second, the complex space-time varying wireless environment. So in fact, both are the wireless channel, means both the challenges, they are associated with the wireless media that exists between transmitter and receiver. First one is limited availability. of radio frequency spectrum. The requirement of wireless channel. So what are the requirements? Requirements are high speed, larger bandwidth, better quality of service, cost effective. So these things we expect from a wireless communication system. Okay, our system must provide larger bandwidth so that more number of users can be catered. The second thing, what we want from the wireless communication system, it must have larger bandwidth. High speed means we can transmit enormous amount of data from the transmitter. The larger bandwidth, and then its quality of service. Its quality of service must be good. So it should have better quality of service. And uh, the last one, but not the least, it's cost effective. Means cost must be less. So to design such type of wireless communication system, the wireless system designers, they face a lot of challenges. And these challenges are limited availability of radio frequency spectrum, and the second, the complex space-time varying wireless environment. So the nature of the wireless communication system, wireless communication channel that exists between transmitter and receiver is unpredictable. It's very complex. So these challenges, they limit the transmission rate, then the quality of service of communication system. So these are the challenges they are faced by a wireless communication designer. And if our designer can overcome these challenges, then definitely a wireless channel communication system can support high speed. It can provide a larger bandwidth to the user, and its quality of service definitely will be better. Now, if we compare the transmission rate for the existing scheme, means where MIMO systems are used. Let's say in fourth generation system, we are using LTE advanced as a one technique for transmission of data. So in case of LTE advanced, for downlink, the transmission rate is 100 to 300 mega bits per second. And for uplink, it is 50 to 75. Some is the providers, they have more data rate, and maybe of the order of 500 for downlink and 150 megabits per second for uplink. But if the transmitter or receiver is moving at high speed, then there is limited transmission rate, and that is of the order of 100 Mbps. And while for transmitter receivers, it is of the order of 1000 Mbps. So this type of transmission rate is provided by this fourth generation technique, and wireless systems definitely they must support it, and they are supporting. In fact, we have such type of system, they are supporting it. The latency means the time gap between effect and cause. It is of the order of 15 milliseconds for 4G system. Now, if we compare the same thing for latest version of wireless communication system, that is fifth generation. So in case of fifth generation, what are the requirements? Means data rates, it is of the order of tens of Mbps for tens of thousands of users. For metropolitan area, it is of the order of 100 Mbps. And for simultaneous connections to workers or end users, they are working on the same floor in same office, then it is of the order of 1 Gbps. So this much of data rate we are expecting from the new fifth generation technique. Similarly, the several hundreds of thousands of simultaneous connections we are expecting with this. Means density of devices, how many devices are connected with one base station. So more and more devices we are expecting here. Then the spectral efficiency means in terms of the number of bits transmitted by this scheme per unit hertz. A large bandwidth or the spectral efficiency we are expecting from fourth generation as compared to fifth generation as compared to fourth generation system. and roughly it is of order of 100 times more than that of 4G system. Latency, again the time delay between cause and the effect of some physical change. In 5G systems, what we are expecting theoretically zero latency, but practically it is very low as compared to the fourth generation of the order of 1 by 20th time less. So approximately latency of 1 millisecond we are expecting from. But we are expecting all these things from the fourth generation, fifth generation. But can we get this one? Can we achieve this latency? Can we achieve this device density? Can we achieve this type of transmission rate with the wireless system? That will only be decided by the media that exists between the transmitter and receiver. So that in fact it depends on the channel that is existing between the transmitter and receiver. So first we should know what is the channel, why we can say the limited availability of frequency spectrum. However, we know that the environment, infinite environment is available to us. Means all the frequencies, all the spectrums are available for us. So still we are saying limited spectrum is available for use of wireless communication channel design. And why it is so? So for that, first we will look uh, on this wireless channel briefly. Means what does it mean? So let us consider the single input, single output type of transmission. And here what we are expecting, the digital signal is defined in discrete time by the complex time series sequence Ck, where K belongs to a complex set Z, and it is transmitted at symbol period T. So T is the symbol period, and then we can represent the data that is transmitted in this digital system in terms of these sequences. So it is given in expression 1, and where this Es is nothing but the transmitted symbol energy, and T is the symbol period. Now to transmit this symbol, let us define a function as mentioned in this slide, SBT comma tau. This SBT tau is nothing but it is defined as a time varying impulse response of channel over the system bandwidth B. Means SBT is nothing, it is a channel response. Okay, it varies in time along T, and the frequency response, it varies also along tau. Means there are two time variable, one is T, second is tau. So this HBT tau is a time varying impulse response of channel over the system bandwidth B. B is the system bandwidth, and that is roughly given by 1 over capital T, where T is the symbol period. So using that we can define this channel HB. Now if this type of channel impulse response we have, and if we want to transmit the signal over this channel, then the CT signal will be transmitted over this channel, and this will be received by the receiver that is at a distance away from the transmitter. So the received signal is given by expression 2. It's simple expression, nothing, the convolution between the channel impulse response and the bit that we are transmitting, or the symbol in a symbol period T we are transmitting. So RT is given by integration 0 to tau max HB T tau CT minus tau D tau, and plus some noise is associated during the transmission of the signal. So this is the noise that is added during transmission of signal in the channel. Okay, and the tau max, this is representing the maximum length of impulse response. So this is the maximum variation of channel impulse response along the variable tau. And this channel is also complex, it is time varying, so it is also varying with respect to T. Okay, so if we say at particular time T equals to T1, the impulse response of channel may be represented as HB T1 tau. Then at time T2, the channel will entirely be different. Okay, so that's why this is the meaning of variation of channel along variable t, and the second along variable tau that represents the spreading of channel in time domain tau along variable tau. Now, what we can say, this hb t tau, it is a scalar quantity and it can be expressed by a simple expression that is convolution of wr tau, st tau and wt tau, where this wt tau is nothing, it is the pulse shaping filter response, and that is used at the transmitter to provide a proper pulse shape to the transmitted signal. And WR is the receive filter response, and this HT tau. In fact, here the HT tau is the electromagnetic propagation channel at time t. This is the actual channel that exists between transmitter and receiver. It has infinite bandwidth. Nothing HB is mentioned here. Okay, so that in fact, in real sense, this type of channel is available for transmitting purpose. Okay, this type of wireless channel is available. This HB tau is a scalar quantity and it can be expressed as the convolution of three terms, where WR tau is the receive filter response, WT tau is the transmitter filter response, or you can say the pulse shaping filter impulse response, and ST tau. ST tau is the electromagnetic propagation channel impulse response at time t. Okay. Now, what we are assuming? We are assuming that if the cascade of the transmit filter and receive filter, if it is not creating any intersymbol interference only when the received signal is sampled according to Nyquist criteria. So this cascade will not create any ISI. The only thing is responsible for ISI and other is ST tau. So this ST tau, in the real sense, practically it is highly difficult to model. Means this is the most challenging part for a communication designer. Means a communication designer cannot easily model this channel that is fit for every frequency. Okay, so for infinite bandwidth, it cannot be designed. So that's why it is termed that it is true in the practical sense. The limited frequency spectrum resources are available to us because of this reason. So as a consequence, HB tau is usually the modeled quantity because we cannot model ST tau, although it is often written as ST tau, but it is a slight abuse of notation. So if the symbol period capital T is much longer than the channel impulse response. So earlier we have seen the channel impulse response given by expression 2. So the maximum spreading of channel can be represented by tau max. So if this capital T is much longer than the channel impulse response, that is tau max, then HB tau be modeled by a single dependence on T. And the discrete values of this means at particular times we can express this channel as h of k, means k is at kth instant. At kth instant, it can be represented as hk equals to alpha beta h of k, where alpha is the real valued quantity and it is termed as the attenuation. So the attenuation provided by the transmitter and receiver is represented by alpha. It is a real quantity. So it is completely deterministic thing. Okay. Beta is again a real valued additional attenuation term, but it has certain level of randomness, and this term is known as the shadowing. So because of shadowing, there is another term beta that is present in this. But if we know it, we can assume alpha beta are the real values quantities, and they can be assumed or calculated, or they are of deterministic nature up to certain extent. But the only thing is hk. So hk is complex variable. It is representing the fading term caused by combination of non-coherent multi-paths. So this hk is in fact the basic term associated with this wireless channel. And in fact, it is not easy to model this HK. Okay, so we will have a look on this HK, how it is providing fading and all the things. The transmitter is transmitting signal, and it reaches to the receiver by a multipath. So it arrives at the receiver by different path, as shown in this figure. And the multiple versions of the signal, they may interfere with each other. And due to the interference, due to the interfering nature of these multipath components, they creates inter-symbol interference. Okay, so the common representation of this multipath channel is nothing but it can be represented in terms of its impulse response, and the impulse response is shown in this figure. So this is in fact the representation of h of kt, where tau max is representing its maximum dispersion of the channel or maximum stretching of the channel along variable tau, and ht is the variation of channel along variable t time. So if we observe the channel, multipath channel at different times, we may have different natures. Okay, so that will not be similar if we observe the channel at different times. But this figure is representing the multipath channel impulse response. Okay, now after that, if this is the channel that exists between transmitter and receiver, how it will affect the transmission of wireless channel, wireless signal. So to look into the effect of that channel, let us examine briefly the transmission involved between the transmitter and receiver. So when the signal is being transmitted by transmitter, it receives at the receiver, and due to it is coming to the receiver via multiple paths. So because of that multipath nature, the wireless links are impaired by random fluctuations. And this the fluctuation, it's not only across time, but this fluctuation is across frequency, across space. And this behavior is known as the fading. And this fading affects the bit error rate performance of wireless link. So for that, we know that if channel is only AWGN channel, means no multipath scenario exists between transmitter and receiver, then the received signal is simply the transmitted signal. As mentioned here, square root of ESC, C is the bits that we are transmitting, ES is the energy associated with that particular bit, and plus some noise. So this will be the received signal in case of AWGN channel. Now suppose the signal we are transmitting, it is using BPSK transmission, means only binary phase shifting modulation is used here. So in that case, we can easily derive the probability of error. That is nothing but the Q function of the square root of energy of the signal to the ratio of energy of signal to noise energy. So it is Q function is square root 2 ES by sigma n square, where ES by sigma n square is termed as the signal to noise ratio, SNR, and it is represented by rho. So it will be approximated as 1 by 2 e raised to the power minus ES by n sigma n square, or 1 by 2 e raised power minus rho. So this is for AWGN channel and for BPSK transmission. Similarly, we can compute this probability of error when the channel, it has multipath between transmitter and receiver. So that multipath nature can be modeled by a Rayleigh distribution or Rayleigh, other depending on the situation. Here I took the Rayleigh distribution for modeling this channel. So now fading is present between transmitter and receiver. So when fading is present, the received signal level fluctuates at S square root ES. And where this S is mod of H, where H is the channel we have discussed earlier. So this fluctuation, it follows Rayleigh distribution, and the distribution is given in this expression, S by sigma s square e raised power minus s square by 2 times sigma s square, where sigma s square is the power associated with this fluctuation SES, whose the average, the first two moment, average and variance, they are easily computed as sigma s times root of pi by 2, and the variance, it is 2 times sigma s square. So the sampled version of received signal here, we can express it as y equals to square root es h into c plus n. Earlier it was simply in case of AWGN channel, that was y equals to, y means the received signal, this was equals to the transmitted signal plus noise. So transmitted signal was square root ESC, but here because of involvement of fading, the transmitted signal will be transmitted over a channel, and the channel is represented by h. So here the transmitted signal will be square root E h into c, and then addition of noise. This will be the signal received at the receiver. So again, if we consider the BPSK transmission, then the performance of this system we can evaluate in terms of bit error rate as shown in this expression. So the probability of error rate, that can be expressed as half bracket 1 minus square root of rho by rho plus 1, where rho is the SNR, signal to noise ratio. Now, if we assume the SNR value is very high, so if it is very high, then from expression 7, this probability of error PE, this can be approximated as 1 by 4 rho, where rho is the SNR. Now, if we plot this probability of error on y-axis and the value of SNR on x-axis, so this type of plot we will have. So this the lower line, it is representing the bit error rate for additive white Gaussian noise channel, and the upper one, the red line, it is representing the probability of error rate for the fading channel. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So now we can see the effect of the involvement of the fading channel between transmitter and receiver. So what happens because of that fading channel, we have the reduction in the performance of bit error rate performance, the quality of the system. Earlier the quality is this one, now this is the quality. So here we will see the degradation in the quality of service, or the degradation in bit error rate, both are same. Okay, now so how we can avoid this? So to avoid this, we have different solutions. So one solution is the diversity. Diversity is nothing but the diversity is a scheme in which the multiple versions of same transmitted signals are provided to the receiver, and in this way the receiver selects the better signal, and we will feel the improvement in the quality of performance of the system. So we will feel a better quality of performance because multiple versions are provided to the receiver, and the fading may fade particular type of signal, but not for all the signals, because signal to the receiver is coming by different paths. So it is highly possible that suppose there are 100 paths. So in every path, every signal is under deep fade. It is not possible. Okay, in some paths, signal may not be faded. So then that will be selected at the receiver, and we will have better performance of the system. So if these versions are affected by independent fading, the probability that all branches are in fade at the same time, it reduces dramatically. So therefore, the diversity helps stabilize the link through channel hardening, which leads to improved performance in terms of error rate. Channel hardening means we have a fruitful environment between or a line of sight type of link between transmitter and receiver. And that may be possible because of this scheme diversity. So, what diversity does? Diversity may avoid the effect of fading. Correct. So that's why the diversity is a good tool to avoid the effect of fading. Now, as we discussed earlier, the fading occurs in three dimensions: time, frequency, and space. Similarly, the diversity may be exploited in these dimensions. So the diversity schemes may be termed as time diversity, frequency diversity, and space diversity. The time diversity, it can be obtained by appropriate coding and interleaving. So by coding the data at transmitter and then interleaving, we will have this type of time diversity. And the frequency diversity, it exploits the temporal spreading of channel in tau domain through equalization techniques or multi-carrier modulations like OFDM. So OFDM is a strong tool to use the diversity in frequency domain. So with the help of time and frequency diversity schemes, we can improve the performance of a communication system. But at the same time, there is some drawback associated with these time and frequency diversity schemes, because both time and frequency diversity techniques, they incur a loss in time or bandwidth to allow the introduction of redundancy, because interleaving, coding, some redundancy is required, and the redundancy in data is used to remove the losses that occur during the transmission. Okay, so some time is required for that. Similarly, for different modulation schemes, some frequency is required. Okay, to use the to imply the redundancy or to imply the frequency diversity. So reduction in time and frequency definitely produces some loss. So this loss will definitely reduce the bandwidth as well as the transmission rate. So this is the drawback of the time and frequency diversity. But in contrast to it, if we apply diversity along space, then neither the time is required nor the bandwidth, only space is required. So that type of diversity scheme neither requires time nor requires frequency. So neither the loss in data corresponding to time will be there, neither corresponding to frequency. So if we apply the spatial diversity, then we can avoid this loss in time or frequency, and we can achieve more transmission rate. We can get larger bandwidth with the help of the third diversity scheme. Okay. Now, if we apply the diversity, then what we will get? So, on the application of this diversity scheme, the improvements that we will have, they are listed as: first is it is defined as the ratio of the average SNR with respect to the single branch SNR. The second is the diversity gain. Again, it is the ratio of the average logarithmic of ratio of average probability of error to averages. So single branch SNR. In this figure, the probability of error rate with respect to SNR is again plotted, and for three cases. Case 1, when the channel is additive white Gaussian noise channel only. Case 2, when channel is fading channel, but no diversity is applied. So the lower one graph, the dashed line, the lower one, it is representing the probability of error rate for AWGN channel, and the upper one is representing probability of error for fading channel. Now, if we apply some diversity scheme, then see what happens. This graph will move towards this side. So this point will also be shifted. So this shift will be measured in terms of the array gain. Okay. So from this, what we can say, the diversity improves if we use the diversity scheme. Then we will improvement in the performance of the wireless communication system. Now the third one is the multiplexing capabilities. So with this diversity, we will also see the multiplexing capabilities of the diversity scheme. So when it is implied at both sides of the network, multiple antennas may also be used to increase the transmission rate or capacity of communication system. With help of this, uh, we may observe either the array gain or diversity gain. What we observed here, the improvement in the performance of the system. That is, we can expect the better quality of system from better quality of system. Okay, the quality is improved here in terms of bit error rate, but there is no improvement in the transmission rate. But with this type of diversity scheme, we may have multiplexing capabilities, and that may increase the transmission rate or capacity of communication system. So in favorable channels, the rate may be increased, and that rate may be proportional to minimum value of the transmitting and or receiving element used at the transmitter or receiver. So this leverage is known as a spatial multiplexing and characterized by multiplexing gain. And this multiplexing gain is defined as the ratio of R of rho to log rho, where rho is the SNR, R rho is the transmission rate, and a limiting case when rho goes to infinite. So that leverage we may have in addition to quality of service. In addition to array gain and diversity gain, we may also have multiplexing capability or multiplexing gain with the diversity scheme. Okay, so now that is the reason why we need a MIMO system, why we need multiple inputs and multiple antennas at input and multiple antennas at output. So what is MIMO? MIMO system, as shown in this figure, uh, it uses multiple antennas at input and multiple antennas at output. Input means at transmitter, output at receiver. And they are defined by spatial diversity and spatial multiplexing. As we have seen, the diversity gain, multiplexing gain. So the spatial diversity, what is that? The spatial diversity, in this case, the signal that we want to transmit from the transmitter. Okay, so the number of copies are transmitted from multiple antennas by the transmitter, or multiple copies of same signal are received at the receiver using more than one antennas. Okay, so in this way, redundancy is provided by employing an array of antennas either at transmitter or at receiver, taking care of the separation between these two antennas, the antenna arrays. Okay, then spatial multiplexing. What is that? In this, the system is able to carry more than one data stream over one frequency simultaneously. In case of multiplexings, we are not transmitting multiple copies of same signal for different antennas. But here what we are doing, we are transmitting different signals from number of antennas they are used at receiver or transmitter. So number of different signals are being transmitted by the antennas, that number of antennas used for transmission at transmitter, and the signals, the different signals definitely will be received at the receiving elements. So in this way, we may improve the multiplexing gain. We may have the multiplexing gain from this MIMO system if we transmit different. But what happens in this case? We cannot say that the same improvement in the quality of performance of system be observed in this spatial multiplexing. So these two are the conflicting things. If we observe the improvement in the performance of the system, then there may not be any spatial multiplexing. But if we observe the spatial multiplexing gain, then there may not be the same improvement in the performance of the system, quality of service. Correct. So after that, we can answer why we need MIMO. So question is very simple. So answer is again very simple. there is always a need for increase in performance in wireless system. That's why we need MIMO system. And the MIMO system helps to improve the spectral efficiency, data rates, quality of service, wide coverage, spectrum, etc. So that's why we need the multiple antennas at input and multiple antennas at output. The wireless channel that we are using is very unfriendly, as we have seen, because it is unpredictable. So that's why it is not friendly. It suffers from co-channel interference and signal level fading. It provides limited bandwidth. Power falls also associated with this system while transmitting the signal from one point to another. So these are something associated with this wireless channel. Now, to overcome these challenges of wireless channel, we have seen we can apply the diversity schemes. Okay, so why using multiple input, multiple output system? The diversity gain, if we apply diversity scheme, then this mitigates the fading and increases coverage and improves quality of service. If we apply diversity techniques, okay, and if we apply the multiplexing techniques, means diversity to increase the diversity gain. A diversity, if it is applied to increase the multiplexing gain, then it increases the multiplexing capabilities or capacity and spectral efficiency with no additional power or bandwidth expenditure. But in the previous case, means when diversity technique is used to provide the diversity gain, and it mitigates the fading effect to increase the coverage and improved quality. So in this case, that there is always loss of time and bandwidth. So definitely the quality definitely will be better, but at the cost of loss in time or bandwidth. Now, as we have seen, two interesting things. One is the spatial diversity, second is the spatial multiplexing. Both things are desirable. If we need spatial diversity and spatial multiplexing, both at their maximum value. Is it possible? Why the spatial diversity multiplexing both cannot be achieved at same time? So the maximum value of the spatial diversity and spatial multiplexing. Maximum spatial diversity means the maximum diversity gain and the maximum multiplexing gain. Can be achieved these two simultaneously? Why they cannot be achieved simultaneously? Because if we want to improve the diversity gain, then what is the technique? The spatial diversity technique is where the same signal, the multiple copies of same signals are applied to number of antennas used either a transmitter or a receiver. So that's why there is no question of multiplexing gain. Okay, and the second thing, because the diversity scheme, they need some time, loss in time or loss in frequency. So that's why either the reduction in transmission rate or reduction in bandwidth will be there. So we cannot get maximum multiplexing gain. So that's why these two are the conflicting goals. Now, if we look at the spatial multiplexing, the MIMO channels can be decomposed into a number of NR, if NR antennas are used at the receiver, a number of NR parallel independent channel, and in that way we will have multiplexing gain. So how we will achieve it? Here we are transmitting different signals from each antenna. So if we look at this system, now look at the transmitter. Here number of antennas, as mentioned here, A1, A2, A3 are used, and number of bits are applied to these antennas. See, B1 is applied to A1, B2 is to A2, B3 is to A3, so on. And simultaneously, using different frequencies, these bits are transmitted. Okay, or we may use the same carrier. Forget about different frequencies, the same carrier is used. So these different signals are being transmitted by the three different antennas. So using a strong tool, if it is possible that with the help of that tool, if it is possible to decouple these channels into three parallel channels, then what we may assume, the B1 is transmitted by A1 and coming to B1. B1 is the antenna at the receiver. Similarly, B2 bit is transmitted by A2 and it is coming to antenna B2 at the receiver, and in this way we can easily decode. So in one transmission or in one symbol period, how many bits are being transmitted by this system? 3. So its capacity is 3 times better than the capacity when we are using the spatial diversity. In case of spatial diversity, B1 will be transmitted by A1, B2 will be B1 will be transmitted by A2, and B1 will be transmitted by A3. So in one transmission or in one symbol period, only one bit is being transmitted. But here, in case of spatial multiplexing, we are transmitting 3 different bits. So it's the capacity, the multiplexing gain will improve. Okay. So that will be more only when it is possible to decompose these into n parallel channels. So if it is the case, then what we can say, we can transmit A1, A2, A3 in this way. Although the received signal is combination of all, but with the help of that tool, we can get the corresponding bits at the B1, B2, B3. So in this way, we will have the multiplexing gain. Now, with the help of multiple antennas, we can also improve the capacity, as we have seen theoretically. Mathematically, this capacity can be expressed in terms of the Shannon's classical formula. For CISO, it is B log 2 1 by Sn square into H mod of H square, where Sn is signal to noise ratio, mod H is the channel gain, B is the bandwidth, C is the transmission rate or the capacity. For single input multiple output antennas, it is given by C equals to B log 2 1 plus SNR summation of this one. Okay, so and for this is single input multiple output, means transmitter is using one antenna but receiver is using multiple antennas. And here it is multiple input, means transmitter is using a number of antennas and receiver is using one antenna. So these are different capacity formulas, capacities of different systems: CISO, CMO, MISO. CISO single input single output, CMO single input multiple output, MISO multi input single output. Now look at the multiple input multiple output. When transmitter and receivers, they are using number of more than one antennas. So in this particular case, suppose transmitter is using n and receiver is also using n antennas. So we can also derive the capacity of these systems under 2 different categories. One, when channel knowledge is available at the transmitter, means transmitter is well aware about the channel. So in that case, the capacity formula is n log 2 a whole bracket 1 plus ES by sigma n square, means signal to noise ratio, n the number of antennas, and dot h of n mod square. Hn means the different path gains between channel 1 to 1, 2 to 2, like that. So ES is the total power, sigma s square is noise power. Okay, so from this expression, what we can say, the capacity grows linearly with number of antennas. C is proportional to n. For single input single output, it is log 2 1 plus Sn square into this. But for n more n, it is proportional to n. So it increases if we use more and more number of antennas. Similarly, for second case, when so this is the case when channel is not known, but this is the case when channel is known. If channel information is known to the transmitter, then this is the formula. So from this case, we can also prove that the capacity of MIMO system increases linearly with number of antennas used at the transmitter receiver, but that will be minimum of NTRNR. Whichever is minimum, the capacity will be proportional to that. Now, with this analysis, we can plot the capacity versus SNR. So if we look at this graph, the lower line, red one, it is for single input, single output system. And this line, the upper one, it is for multiple input, multiple output system where multiple antennas, 8 are used at the transmitter, receiver. So for 8 antennas, look at this, it is corresponding to this value, and it should be of the order of 8. So definitely it is approximately 8 times. है ना? So in this way we can say the average capacity of MIMO system when channel between transmitter receiver is fading channel, it improves when more number of transmitter and receiver antennas are used at transmitter receiver. Look at now we'll go into the mathematical, little bit mathematical details of spatial diversity. Spatial diversity means number of antennas are being used at transmitter and number of antennas are being used at receiver. In case of spatial diversity, the same signal is fed to all the antennas and same is being received by them. Okay, so by doing this, it improves the quality of service if we use this type of diversity. So what happens when the system is single input, single output? So why can we express that Hx plus n? X is the input, means signal, H is the channel, n is the noise. So in this case, SNR is given by this and probability of error. Although we have seen earlier, for single input, multiple output, this is the value of SNR and this is the probability of error. So you can see for single input, single output, probability of error is of the order of this one. But when more number of antennas are used at the receiver, the probability error decreases and we will have some array gain. So we can observe from this expression. Similarly, the SNR values and probability of error rate for MISO system, it is given by these expressions. And now come to the MIMO system. So for MIMO system, we use the transmit receive diversity. The more number of antennas are used at transmitter and receiver. So in that case, what will be the case? The probability of error and SNR, always we will have improvement in SNR. So if there is improvement in SNR, what will be the improvement reflected in the gain, means diversity gain. So we will have improvement in the diversity gain, because diversity gain is nothing but the ratio of row out by row. So we will have improvement in diversity gain that can be observed from this expression. And similarly, the probability of reduction will be there. Probability of error rate will be reduced, and the reduction will be proportional to mn times m number of antennas used at the transmitter, n number of antennas used at the receiver. So we can see the effect of diversity. So what we can conclude from this, we can conclude that the receiver or transmitter, if we use more number of antennas at receiver or transmitter, diversity grows logarithmically, or in some cases it is linearly with number of antennas. So if we apply the diversity at transmitter receiver, it will always be proportional to logarithmic value of number of antennas, or in some cases directly proportional to number of antennas. The second thing we can conclude, the capacity of MIMO system, it increases linearly with number of antennas. And the third, the spatial diversity, SNR increases, bit error rate decreases for MIMO system. Okay. So for MIMO system, what happens? SNR increases, whereas bit error rate decreases. Although in other cases, the SNR increases, bit error rate decreases. But in MIMO systems, we will not have same increase in the diversity gain. We will have more increase in the multiplexing gain. So that's why spatial multiplexing and spatial diversity are conflicting objectives, conflicting goals to achieve. We may have optimum value of this spatial multiplexing and diversity, but we cannot say that we may achieve the maximum spatial diversity gain and maximum multiplexing gain. No, it cannot be possible. So this thing we conclude from this one. Now, there are different methods which we can apply this diversity. So I will discuss in brief the methods that can be applied to that can be implemented to apply the diversity. The first one, the receiver diversity. It is for SIMO, means single input, multiple output. So multiple output means multiple antennas are used at the receiver. So the diversity can be applied at the receiver. So there are two methods. One is the selection combining, second is the gain combining. In selection combining, the combiner selects the branches with highest SNR among NR signal branches, because NR antennas are used. Those signal will come to every antenna. So that's why every branch will be termed as a single branch. So NR antennas, there will be NR signal branches. So here we will use such type of combiner which combines that signal, or which selects that signal which is which branch that is having maximum SNR among all the available branches. This is one way why which we can apply the receiver diversity. The second is the gain combiner. In this scheme, the signal used for detection is a linear combination of all branches. So we will use a combiner at the receiver that combines the signal coming in all the branches. And the combiner vector is W here. So we will select that W vector such that there is improvement in the SNR. So to implement the diversity by a selection combining, gain combining, we have assumption here that the receiver, the channel information is known to the receiver. If it is not known, then some channel estimation method will be applied, and that method will provide the channel information to the receiver, and then we will apply the selection and gain combining methods. So this is the block diagram, how signal propagates from transmitter to receiver by different paths, S1, S2, S3, and there are different antennas used at the receiver, 1 to NR. So the transmitted signal coming to antenna 1 through path 1 at its gate is H1. Similarly, antenna 2, path 2, gain S2, and so on. So here, NR channels, they are H1, H2, S3, HNR. Relay distributed with unit energy, and noise is also equal. This is assumed noise is equal on each antenna. So N1, N2, NR is not there. So N noise is here, N noise is here, means noise power is same for all the branches. So here the selection algorithm compares instantaneous amplitude of each channel. So what will be the amplitude of received signal here? Sn, S1, S2, etc. S will be equals to H1 into the transmitted signal. Okay, so this maximize, and the probability of that maximization can be calculated like this, and the distribution of that probability is given by this expression. These mathematical analysis is not complex; it's very simple. Okay, you can easily derive these expressions. And in this way, we can compute the average SNR at the output of combiner by integrating this rho S square, rho max S ds. Okay, and then putting the value of this, we will have the rho out as rho summation 1 to NR 1 by N. Now, recall the formula of array gain. Array gain is nothing but rho out by rho. So from this expression, we can compute the array gain as rho out by rho. It is the summation of 1 by N from N equals to 1 to NR. So this is the array gain. And that array gain is achieved by application or implementation of diversity scheme, spatial diversity scheme. So GA approximately equals to, because this is a constant, it's very small number, and if NR is large, so that this will be very less. So only thing is left with logarithmic of NR. So what we can say that here the array gain is proportional to log of NR. Now, for diversity gain, we can easily compute the diversity gain if we assume the transmission is BPSK. Actually, this formula we have used in the beginning. Okay, so same formula is there. So at this, the high SNR value, the probability, average probability of error is derived as 3 by 8 rho square. And from this, we can calculate the diversity gain, GR. GR was log of P divided by log of rho. So from where, what we will get for BPSK transmission, if two antennas are used, so this is calculated for NR equals to 2, two receive elements are used. So the slope of this error rate curve for uh, two receive elements, uh, if it is n r will be 2, so then that will be the expression for the probability of error rate, and the diversity gain is of the order of 2. So what we can say on the application of this diversity scheme, the diversity gain increases proportional to number of antennas. So here we are using two antennas, so this is equals to 2, correct? The second is the gain combining method. So here gain combining method, this is what the received signal. So after using a combiner, we will select a combiner. The signal, received signal will be Z, and it can be expressed like that. So where this W matrix and the elements of W matrix are the combining weights, and these are depending on the choice of different gain combining methods. So different gain combining methods have been developed. Okay, so for equal gain means W will be same for all, but here what will we assume? Let's the data symbol is C, NR number of antennas. The channel is represented by HN as some amplitude and some phase. So the signal from all antennas are combined and detected signal, and then we can write Z as, because here W is equal gain combining. So weights are same for that. What will be there? H will be there only. Yeah? So W H C plus W times N. N is the noise vector and W is the weight combining vector. H the different channel paths gains H1, H2, HNR. So in this way, we will have the received signal after combining this one. Now, for equal gain, as I said, the weight value will be same for all. Oh, so weight are fixed. So if we take the mod of this, weight will be 1, 1, 1. But they have different phases. So this type of selection we will do here. And then the post combiner signal can be expressed here, where this N is the noise vector after combining. Okay. So this noise remains white always. Now from this, what we can compute the SNR, signal to noise ratio at the receiver. So this is the signal power. If we take the variance of this and take the variance of that, then this will be the noise power. So this N means the variance of this term, and variance of this term, ratio of these two will be rho out, means average signal to noise ratio. So if we compute that average signal to noise ratio after solving this expression, a little bit cumbersome expression, so we will have the expression for rho out as this one. Rho out will be rho bracket 1 plus nr minus 1 into pi by 4, where nr number of receiving elements, number of antennas at receiver. So if nr is very large, means if we use more number of antennas at the receiver, then minus 1 will be very small as compared to nr. So rho out will be proportional to rho times nr into pi by 4. So the array gain, that is approximately proportional to, we can say that the array gain is proportional to nr. Similarly, as we did here, for this case, we calculated the probability of error rate for this selection combiner. For gain combiner, we can prove the probability of error, and from that we can also prove that for if we use two antennas, then the diversity gain is equals to, and for n antennas it is proportional to nr. Same can be proved. So with the help of selection combining or gain combining, the improvement in array and diversity gain can be observed. The diversity gain is proportional to number of antennas. However, in earlier case, it was not proportional to nr. It was proportional to logarithmic of nr. But I said in some cases it is proportional to nr. So here it is proportional to nr. Okay. Now, this is the receive combining we have seen. So we can plot the beta error rate curve, and that we have seen again. So there is improvement in the diversity gain, definitely there will be reduction or there will be improvement in the probability of error rate. So that can be observed mathematically as well. Now for MIMO systems, the last one interesting thing, in case of MIMO system, in addition to diversity gain, we will have some multiplexing gain. So with multiple antennas at transmitter receiver, it is possible to increase the transmission rate via special multiplexing. Okay. However, it is not possible to maximize both, as we have seen earlier. Both are conflicting issues, conflicting objectives. So we cannot improve the multiplexing and the diversity gain. So for that, what we can see, look at the MIMO system. When number of antennas are used at transmitter receiver, let's say NT antennas are used at transmitter, NR are used at receiver. So the system model can be represented by this vector y equals to square root ES. ES is the transmitted symbol energy. H is the channel matrix that exists between the transmitter receiver. So this will be NT cross NR, okay, and C is the transmitted symbol, N is the noise. So at receiver, the antenna outputs are combined into a scalar signal Z through a weighting summation according to NR cross 1 vector. So the first we will see how we will have improvement in diversity gain. So for diversity gain, same signal will be transmitted by every antenna. So that's why same C is taken here. Okay. And what we assumed here, the channel knowledge is known to the transmitter. So there always, for MIMO systems, we may consider two cases. Case one, when channel is known to the transmitter. Case two, when it is not known to the transmitter. Similarly, if it is used at receiver, then channel information is known to receiver or not. So we will always consider two cases. So this is the case when perfect transmit channel is known to the receiver. So using this, there is a strong tool known as the signal value decomposition, and using this signal value decomposition, we can decompose this NT cross NR channel matrix into NR parallel channel matrices. So after decomposing that, what we will feel at the receiver? At receiver antenna 1, the signal transmitted by antenna 1 is coming. At receiver antenna 2, signal transmitted by transmitter antenna 2 is coming. In this way, signal is coming. So after analyzing all the things, what we can observe, the improvement in the, don't go in the mathematical details of that. What we can observe the improvement in the diversity gain. And this improvement will be of the order of NT into NR. Now see, how much diversity gain we will have? NT into NR times. So there is improvement in signal to noise ratio by NT NR times. So here, what we can observe, if we look at this equation that shows the upper and lower bound for error probability, error rate. So from this or for SNR. So from this equation, what we can derive, what we can see, observe, the diversity gain is of the order of NT-NR. So NT transmit antennas, NR receive antennas. So this particular system, MIMO system, this achieves full or extracts full diversity gain, and it is of the order of NT-NR. Okay. Now the second method in this is dominant eigenmode transmission with antenna selection. Actually, if we have this, means if we have the strong tool SBD here, so by which we can decompose the channel into n parallel channels. So why we are not transmitting the maximum signal corresponding to a channel that is good for us, that is user friendly. So corresponding to this, because we have here the eigenvalues, so based on these eigenvalues, we can transmit the signal corresponding to dominant eigenmode. So using this, we can also get the improvement in the diversity gain. Okay. So here, this scheme again extract the diversity gain of the order of NTNR. However, what we did here, we are not using all the transmit elements. We are selecting only NT minus NT dash elements. Okay, we are not we are having NT transmit elements at the transmitting end, but we are selecting only NT dash, which is lesser than NT, and we are transmitting signal over only these NT dash antennas. However, we are extracting full diversity scheme. So that is the beauty of this. Okay. So then the multiple eigenmode transmission is also there. So I hope I will start these schemes to refresh you tomorrow, and then I will move further for the massive MIMO.